Hey folks, welcome back to Jerome Bee Farm and Homestead. I thought I'd show off my Guardian bee jacket here a little bit. One of the nice features about it, it has this veil here that unzips. It's got a zipper all the way around here. So you can, you don't have to take your whole hood off to get a drink or wipe your face. As Jason Christman said, wipe the snot rockets off the inside. So yeah, this is a great bee suit, and Guardian sent this to me, and thank you Guardian for that. So yeah, this is a product placement. They sent it to me for free. And the one I had before this, the elastic down here was shot, and it was letting bees in, and that's a bad thing. When you get bees inside your suit, it's a little bit flustering for me anyway, when you get a bunch of bees up in your veil and they start stinging you on the face and the eye and on the nose. That's just not cool. So I will be doing like a 1-year review of this suit later on. I really like it. I've done multiple splits and had bees all over me, and bees do not get in here and sting me. I have had some stings on the wrists through my gloves, but none through this suit. So it's an awesome suit as far as protection goes. It's ventilated, the air goes through it. It's very lightweight. It's not perfect. There's a few things that I would change about it, but they're just minor complaints. But let me use this for a few more months, and June, July, I will do a review on this and tell you all what I think of it. Right now, man, it's great. I really do like it. So with that said, this video is going to be a follow-up on Hives 1 and 5. So if you remember, 1 and 5 were combined over winter with a double screen between them, keeping them separate. So it was 2 hives, yet they were combined like they were one. And they were very weak hives going into winter. I fed them as much as I could to give them, you know, plenty of food going through winter. But coming out of winter, man, they were super weak, but they did survive. And I went ahead and separated them back out in the spring. And well, it's still spring, but late winter I separated them. And I actually gave both of them at least one, I think maybe 2 frames of brood to help boost them up. And a lot of people felt I should have done a lot more. Some people said I should have reduced them down. You know, my response was, well, the nectar flow was like right around the corner, and when that hits, they'll grow rapidly. So I said on number 1, I said, they got everything they need now. They got a little boost. It's up to that queen to lay now. They've got some population where she could lay. So number 5 is the same condition basically. It was the stronger of the 2, but it was still very weak, and I gave it some brood boost as well. But yeah, it's up to those 2 queens as to how they're coming out this year. I think they are marked. I'll look at my notes here before we get down in there, and I'll update you when you get down there. So let's go down there and let's get into them and let's see how they're doing. Okay, here's Hive 1 entrance. It doesn't look too bad. Got a little bit of activity going on. You know, it's not a strong hive by any means. But you notice something. It's a double deep now. So something I forgot about and didn't mention, I went and looked in my notes. This hive was combined. So yeah, this hive has been combined with number 30. Number 30 was over there in the woods. And so what happened to 30 was that queen had failed coming out of winter. All the other hives were brooding up and full of larvae and eggs. Legs? So they were brooding up, and Hive 30 was doing nothing. And so I reduced it down to 1 hive, or 1 deep, took all the empty frames out, spread around some honey to some other hives that needed it, and retired that queen, and put all those bees on here with the newspaper combined. So it really wasn't a lot of bees. It was, I would say it would have been classified as a weak hive by itself. So, and this was a weak hive as well. So I think I did a video on that newspaper combine, and that's when someone said, I think, just leave it as one deep, but I had too many frames at the time. So I'll quit yapping and we'll get in here and see what it looks like. And see, do we need to make a change in here? Is it okay? What's going on? All right, it looks pretty good up top. There's a lightning cucaracha. I got him. And they didn't care for that. So I did look, the queen last year was marked white. So last year, fall, going into the fall, winter, there was a white queen in here. This is pretty damp back here. Something's not, something's leaking a little bit. Yeah, we've had a lot of rain. No queen on the top. So I see a pretty good population of bees between frames 3, 4, 5, and 7. It's by no means busting at the seams ready for a honey super. But it's not weak either. So remember, all these frames up here were from that Hive 30. A little bit of capped honey still left from last year on that one. I didn't clean any propolis off of this when I was in it, looks like. And there's some pollen. So pollen out here is not normal because normally it's going to be up next to the brood. So this is there left from last year, and when I combined those two deeps down into one, that's why there's pollen out here. And pollen and nectar here. So we might see some brood on this next frame. Not much weight to this. That's basically empty. And this is all laid up right here. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if that queen's on here. So down in each one of those cells is a very small larva, not long out of the egg stage. And it's a good pattern. So we've got us a good queen. When I say good pattern, it's like there's not a lot of blank cells in there and spotted around. It's pretty much uniformly filled up. Maybe this one will be all capped. It's mostly capped, and what's not capped has a pretty mature larva in it. So if I was out here not shooting a video, I would just shut it down right now and go with this. But I'm going to go a little farther and see how many more brood frames we see. And I might move a comb frame in between, give that queen a little bit more space to lay. And I'd like to see if we've got a still a white marked queen in here. A little bit of brood still. So we're getting out of the brood frames, I believe. Well, maybe not. I thought that would be the last one. This looks like it's got some on it. A little bit. There's more pollen on this than brood, so this is going to be the last one. She's laid up nice. She's just behind the curve because she had a small population. I was thinking I'd see eggs right in here, but I don't. So our queen's probably down in the bottom. This is going to be nectar here. Yeah, well, it's mostly pollen actually, and nectar mixed in. So they're bringing in what they can and living off of that. They did add some capped honey that tied them over till the flow started. So no, they're not ready for a honey super, but they are doing pretty good. So I'm going to give that queen a frame to lay on right in the middle. This frame was probably on the outside at one time, and they built these little bridges over to the side of the box. Okay. Well, I'm happy with that. I'm going to take a peek down in the bottom, and I'm going to do it by just lifting this whole box up. So yeah, we've got a good general population right there as well. So I think we're doing good. So as far as strength, I'd class this hive as medium. It's there's too many bees. I don't know, I think it's borderline for that to be in a single deep. This is one I could single deep and put a super on it. I've done that with like 6 hives though, I think, so I don't want to do that with too many. So let's just go with this for now. Let's get over number 5 and see if 5 is alive. Okay, here's number 5 entrance. I just seen some pollen go in there. So I've always heard that there's some more. If you got pollen going in, your queen is a laying. So pollen feeds the brood. And you'll usually find pollen right next to your brood frames and up on the outside edges and corners of your brood frames. So let's check out 5. So this is a brood comb, or a drone comb that I cleaned out of a hive. And I just lay it out here for the bees to kind of clean it up, get any honey off of it. If there's any drone larvae, they take care of those. So I just squish this into a ball. Oop, looks like there was a drone left. And this goes into the bucket. So this I use to melt down and coat my frames with. Well, I see bees. That's a good thing. Always look on your lid for your queen. I've actually found a queen on the lid a couple times. It's pretty rare, but it does happen. Whoa. I made sure they weren't starving. I put that in there. Big old heavy honey frame. That is not something you want to set out doing an inspection in the late summer. You will have a robbing frenzy. So this is basically an empty frame. A little bit of nectar there at the top that's fresh that they put in. So again, we're in the probably the peak of our nectar flow right now. We have honey locust blooming trees, and we're just coming off a week of rain, so the flowers ought to be loaded up with nectar. So they're working the top of that a little bit with putting nectar in. And this frame here is completely laid up and full of larvae. Probably not going to be visible, but down in those cells it's kind of a light colored milky in every one of them. So that whole thing is laid up. I gave this hive a decent amount of smoke because they were a little testy, so I may have ran that queen off to the corner, who knows. Oh yeah, look at that. I call that a brood bomb. Totally laid up. She's used pretty much every cell on there. All capped. That's pretty. Okay, I just went and looked at my notes, and this queen, or this hive, was combined also, but combined down into one deep from hive 12 over here, I think it said. So I had a drone laying queen that she was failing. She was called what we call a drone layer, and so I retired her and combined that on here and then reduced it down. The original queen in here is a Wildflower Meadows queen from Southern California, and she was marked white, and a lot of their markings came off, and some people that also got their queens, I heard that they had the same experience. It didn't like come completely off, but it didn't stay on very well. So this is all capped. There's larvae outside on the very edges of this, of that pattern that's not quite capped yet. So I'm assuming this is our California queen in here that's doing all this. And in addition to that combine, I added 3 frames. 2 were full of brood, and 1 was half full, and I shook some nurse bees in here. So this is, she's working on this right now, backfilling. I see eggs in here, so she's probably on this frame if I was to guess. I don't see her. So this is a pretty full hive. They got some frames out on the outside, so I'll probably pull this one here and bring it to the middle. So she's laid in here all the way out to that pollen ring. Here she is. So she's worked her way to the outside of the brood pattern. This frame, it's got larvae in the middle, so I'm assuming there's eggs all on the outside. You can kind of see the lighter color in there. And here she is right here. White dot, so that is her. So let's get our eye on her and get that frame back down and shored up when we can see she's not in a pinch point. I'm gonna scoot this over. So now I can use some smoke a little bit, not worry about running her away. Get the bees out of my way, easier to work with. See what this frame layer looks like. Yeah, that's a good frame, and they can draw that out. I wish I had my wax with me. I'd rub some on that, but we'll see what they do with it. This side here's, that's prime laying comb right there. So that'll give her more space. But once all that brood starts emerging, that'll be more space for them to build up, put nectar in. So this is probably ready for a second deep pretty darn soon. Or I could put a honey super on this and do that single box setup, which I'm not sold on that yet. I'm going to try it for a year on a few hives and see how that goes. Okay. Yeah, so it looks good. Number 2 hive didn't look bad. It wasn't great. I'd say it was okay. This number 5 here, I'd say it's doing exceptionally well. It's got a lot of brood in there, capped. It's going to be a huge workforce here pretty quick. So I could put a honey super on this. I could put a second deep right now, I think. So either way, I've got I think 6 hives I'm doing the single deep thing. So I don't want to do too many of that until I'm sold on it. I got to let that go through a 1 year cycle and see how they come out of winter. If I have a lot of loss, you know, I'm not going to stick with that. So, but yeah, they're doing well. So that queen in there is definitely a much superior queen to what's going on over there in Hive 1. I'm not sure the history on her, but yeah, this queen here is this Wildflower Meadows queen. They're good queens. So she is going to be a 2-year-old now. So this is the prime of her career. So she ought to be really kicking it in, and she is. So that's the end of the video. I hope it was informational. Put any comments down below what you think about these hives. If you think I ought to do something different, let me know. So I'm open to suggestions. I'm pretty stubborn though. But anyway, thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe on your way out. Y'all take care.